What's up, everyone? The WWE RAW Netflix era is officially here, and I am ready to get into everything that went down. So, the reason this video is coming to you a little late is because I was at the show. So, today I'm going to share my live experience along with everything that went down on WWE RAW. Hopefully, I don't forget anything because there was a shit ton. Also, I am shooting this video at past 1 a.m. And yes, I redid my makeup after uploading a ton of videos and getting out of my red carpet clothes and into something more comfortable. But let's get to it. All right. So I want to start off with the overall live experience of it all. So I have gone to so many pro wrestling events now throughout my entire life as a fan and then as a media member and so forth, right? And I've watched wrestling in so many different venues and so many different states, so many different countries at this point. And I will tell you that today, Intuit Dome, it was my first time there. It was probably my second most favorite place to watch wrestling. My first is still SoFi Stadium because I just really like SoFi Stadium and it's literally right across the street. But Intuit Dome is my second favorite place. And it was my second favorite place because it was so freaking cool. So the thing that SoFi and Intuit Dome have in common is that they're super futuristic. And by that I mean they just have very, very modern technology in there. So they both have the ring of screens at the very, very top of the ceiling. And it's so freaking cool because it just looks great. Like you could literally be in any seat in the building, and no matter what, you're going to have a great view. But the other thing that they did that I've never seen before in any other place is that in the seats, so kind of like what you're seeing right here on my screen, where you have the little armrest, they have a little light. So every seat has a light on the armrest and it just blinks and changes colors. And so it adds to the ambiance of the entire thing. And then also, guess what? They have chargers. They actually have chargers in the seat. As a person who is addicted to doing this and tweeting and making videos, getting to have a charger was great. Although I couldn't catch a break today because my charger thing didn't fit in there, but whatever. Next time I know what correct charger to bring. Regardless, it's the thought that counts. But so I walked in there and it was just so cool because there was people sitting behind the entrance. And the second that I walked in, there was this giant white curtain, which you guys all saw on TV. I haven't seen what the show looked like on TV yet. So I'm sorry if I didn't see things the way you guys did or whatever, right? But there's this big white curtain right smack in the middle, and it served as this as this screen for people where you could watch the raw intro video, and it led to a very, very cool intro of the show. So I had seen that Triple H, I could, because I could see on the floor and what was happening, right? I could see Triple H walking in because there was like a little curtain area where like you could go in. And so I see Triple H walk in and I'm like, oh, okay, Triple H is kicking off the show, right? And as I'm watching the show and I'm waiting for everything to start, dude, there are drones they were drones flying around throughout the entire show. There was times where I would hear like a buzz and I'm like, what is that? What is that? Because I honestly wasn't prepared for all of the drones. And then the fireworks. Holy cow, there were so many fireworks. Now, I grew up a wrestling fan, and one of my favorite things that got me the most excited whenever I would go to Raw or something was the fireworks, because you knew that the second the intro ended, it would just be like boom, 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 boom. And we don't get that often anymore. And personally, I love to see fireworks on a show because it just adds to the exhilaration of going to a show. It just makes things a little bit more exciting. And dude, so I kind of got scared at one point. There was fireworks coming out in all directions, from the top, from the bottom, from the sides. I was like, oh, I'm not used to this anymore. And so there's drones flying around. There's lights everywhere. There's fireworks. I'm like, oh my God, this is sensory overload. But it was so much fun. And I think that whole part of it made the audience just even more excited. Obviously, they were already excited for like the actual show, but they were even more excited with the way that the show was being presented. Like it felt big time. I can honestly say it felt like I was at a WrestleMania. And that's crazy to say because WrestleMania is the biggest of them all. But this show really felt like that. Like if you were in the building, you could legitimately feel that electricity. Now, I'm gonna, you know, when The Rock comes down and he does the thing where he does this and he points at all his goosebumps, I legit believe it for this particular show. When dude came out and did the exact same thing, I was like, yeah, bro, I get it. I'm sitting over here in my seat and I can feel the tingling in the arm from just like the overall just energy in the entire building. So that was freaking cool. All right, that was awesome. I should also tell you guys what was going on behind the scenes for the media. So what was going on, this was very cool too. So I got to the building, right, and so I parked my car and I'm walking in my what I call my Rhea Ripley boots because they're really big and they got a thick heel and they're all black and leather, right, and I'm walking, I'm carrying all my gear and stuff, and I'm trying to get to the building. And it's so cool because they were like, oh, are you media? And I was like, yeah. And so they took us in a golf cart. Legit, we didn't have to walk. We just went in a golf cart. And the golf cart took us from the parking lot to the Intuit Dome, which was like a block and a half. And so that was fun. I was already marking out, honestly, for the golf cart because come on, I don't go in a golf cart every single day. And so anyways, get there and we check in, and then you go into this big giant room. And in this big giant room, there's like everything. There's buffets, there's foods, there's a big giant red carpet. There is like photo activations and all of these things. Everybody's mingling. The talent is basically what they had was you would have the talent come out of one room and then they would be guided into the red carpet. They would do photos. And then after photos, they would walk down the line and do interviews. And then after that, they were free to go. They could either hang out and mingle in that big giant area where there was a bunch of people there just mingling, or they could go back and, do whatever they needed to do, right? So you saw a bunch of people just like hanging out and talking, which was very, very cool. So I had a great time getting to see all of that. And so it was very cool to like just, see a lot of people that I know and talk to people. I was so happy because I posted an interview with Natalia, who you guys can check out. And she like legitimately almost made me cry because she said the nicest things. And I think sometimes we get caught. I know I get caught up in this world of like create, work, 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 work. And there's times where I have these moments where I'm like, oh my God, am I even doing enough? Like, am I doing enough? Should I work harder? When is this video going to take off? Oh my God, this video bombed. This video didn't bomb or whatever, right? It's such an up and down world when it comes to content creation. So when Natalia said all the nice things that she said to me in that video, you guys can check it out. I legitimately wanted to cry. Like she gave me that, like the things she said made me like it just came on a very important day where I was feeling incredibly down, and she like literally lifted my spirits up like way high. So I just wanted you just never know, like you never know what you're going to say to someone that's going to make your day feel much better, and that's what Natalia did for me. So just shout out to Natalia. And then I got to see Sean X Pac Waltman, who many of you guys know that I've worked with before. And so it's nice to catch up with him. I always get so happy. It just feels like home when you see somebody that you know and somebody that's a familiar and friendly face. And that was very, very nice. So those were some of my favorite moments from the red carpet. So shout out to them, and you guys can check out those videos. But now let's go ahead and get into the actual freaking show because there is a lot. So I'm going to do my best to like run down everything and we'll go from there. So I mentioned the intro. So the intro of the show, I thought was possibly one of the coolest things I'd ever seen because the spectacle was just massive. And even though you knew at some point that like white giant curtain was going to disappear, you didn't know how or when it was going to happen, right? So they did this really cool montage, which by the way, I really wanted them to do. So I was so happy that they did that because I felt like it was a nice introduction or a reminder to people that may have not been watching wrestling for a while. So they come in and, they show these this montage of like wrestling memories, right? And then all of a sudden you see an explosion, pooh, of fireworks, and the curtain comes down. I thought it was gonna go up, but it just came down. And coming down was way more dramatic than going up. So coming down, and then you see Triple H there in the center, and he welcomes everybody. And I was like, holy shit, because everyone, like, this was the moment, I think personally, that the energy was the highest. I'm not even gonna lie. I think the energy was the highest in this moment because that introduction was so freaking cool. So I thought that was 100% the very best way to kick off the show. And here's the thing, like, that was the moment when I realized, oh shit, we really are in a new era. We really are in this time period where it feels like WWE is sort of on top of the world right now. That's kind of how I felt in that particular moment. And I think that everybody in the building felt that. So you just had people like losing their shit, yelling, screaming, cheering, just like really, really in anticipation of what was going to go down. And so I've been to a lot of big shows, guys, and I will tell you that I think this one, today's show, may be for WWE like up there in terms of fan electricity, fan engagement. Like, I cannot stress that enough. The people were losing their minds. So I thought that was really great. And so we're already off to a high, right? And instead of like, going down in this roller coaster and waiting to go back up, nah, dude, like we started rocking hot and then we went into like a loop or something in this roller coaster because The Rock came out instantly right away. And everybody, even though we knew The Rock was going to come out, I mean, we weren't expecting him like right then and there, but when he came out, everybody was like, "Yes, The Rock is here." And he really just went out there and he acknowledged Netflix, and he talked about Cody Rhodes, and he talked about Roman Reigns, and he basically just did all his like signature catchphrases and whatnot. And everybody was really excited to hear him like, "Finally, The Rock has come back to Los Angeles." And when he said that, that really took me back, guys, because I feel like growing up, I went to a lot of the shows when like The Rock was more active. And so back then, I think I took for granted getting to hear The Rock say, finally, The Rock has come back to Los Angeles, to Anaheim, to wherever the hell we were at. And it had been so long since I had heard The Rock say, my hometown. And it just hit me. Like, I felt like so much nostalgia in that moment. And even though I've heard The Rock say a bunch of other cities, it doesn't hit the same unless it's your home. So once he said my home, that's when I felt like this surge of nostalgia. And so that felt really freaking great. So let's go ahead and get into the Roman Reigns Solo Sikoa match. Now, I'm going to try to remember everything that happened here because this was a lot. So it was in the beginning was like Roman Solo kind of just going about the motions, doing their thing. And I was watching it and I was watching the match and I was going like, damn, this needs to get hot fast. Like, this needs to start to speed up. And right as I was thinking that, suddenly it was just like boom, 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 boom in terms of action and everything that came all at us like right away. What did we see? Okay, so we saw, they did a couple of moments where I thought, oh my God, is Solo Sikoa actually going to defeat Roman Reigns? Please tell me that is not going to happen. I thought it was going to happen when Jacob Fatu. Yes, when Jacob Fatu came into the match and attacked Roman Reigns, I thought, oh my God, this is how Solo Sikoa wins with the help of Jacob Fatu. And, on the bright side, this will set up Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns. But holy shit, I don't want to see Solo Sikoa defeat Roman Reigns. And so all of that is kind of running through my head and I'm watching in anticipation. I'm super nervous. And then, Roman Reigns is able to survive, right? And then out of nowhere, Kevin Owens comes out. And I'm like, the fuck is Kevin Owens doing here? Like, I know he's mad and he's angry and he hates Roman and all of this, but damn, KO, I like you, bro, but I don't want you to cost Roman Reigns this match. And so he goes in there, goes after Roman Reigns, and I'm freaking nervous at this point. I'm just going like, oh my God, they're going to shock us on. They're going to have Solo Sikoa win. But I think at that point, we all knew like, all right, Cody needs to come out because Cody had been out there when The Rock was out there, like The Rock acknowledged him, and Cody Rhodes was just in the crowd. And I remember thinking like, oh, that's kind of lame. I wanted Cody Rhodes to come out and like have a moment where like you hear the music and everything, right? So Cody Rhodes does go out there, and we do get Cody Rhodes out there helping out Roman Reigns and going after Kevin Owens and sort of eliminating him from this picture. And then I even forgot to mention, like, we did see Sami Zayn, Jimmy Uso. It was just a lot, guys. Everybody and their mother was coming out at this point. What they did here was your slow match in the beginning, but no one's going to remember that or really even talk about that, because what they're going to talk about is all of the big moments that happened afterwards, right? They're going to talk about Cody and KO and all of that. That's what they're going to talk about. So Roman Reigns does get the win here. Spears, Solo Sikoa, and 1, 2, 3. It's all good. And I was so freaking stoked about getting to see him win the actual matchup here. So then we get The Rock comes out, and he goes out there, and I'm thinking like, oh shit, like here we go. They're going to, really signify that this is it. Like this is going to be the WrestleMania matchup. He goes out there, he stares down Roman Reigns, gives him a hug, and puts the Ula Fala on him. And I'm thinking like, all right, there was a moment where you were seeing Roman Reigns, like, celebrate. He was doing his thing, right? And right behind him was The Rock. And I kept watching and I kept watching and I kept thinking, is The Rock going to attack Roman Reigns? Is The Rock going to attack him? Is this going to happen right now? Is the attack going to happen here? And it didn't. And so I thought that the way they did it was pretty simple, where it was like, okay, we got another Rock appearance, the second on the show at that point. And, Roman Reigns gets, I guess you can say, acknowledged because he put the Ula Fala on him and gave him a hug. But I feel like they left it in a way where it's open to interpretation, right? It could mean, hey, we're on good terms right now, but it can also mean, you know what? We might have a match at WrestleMania. So I felt like that interaction that we saw there with The Rock and Roman really sort of left it open to interpretation. I feel like everyone maybe came out of it going like, I think they're wrestling at WrestleMania, but just in case, I'm not really too sure, but they possibly are. I feel like I'm leaning more towards we are going to see Roman and The Rock wrestle at WrestleMania, but I'm also kind of nervous about getting my hopes up. So I feel like nothing's ever safe to say, right? You can't ever say, oh, it's safe to say that this match is going to happen until it's officially announced. But that was just like the moment of seeing Roman and The Rock together. You couldn't help but be like, this has got to be your WrestleMania main event, especially because like they weren't even doing anything. Like it was so like a long pauses, right? And everybody was like this, watching so intently, watching to see what is going to go down with these guys here. And so I thought it was just so much fun. It was so great. It was so exciting. I loved all of the little bits too that they did in between matches, by the way, like the interviews, the party section, all of those little extra additions where they were showing the celebrities in the crowd, all of that. I loved it. I did see Topanga when she was walking. I was like, oh my God, there's Topanga. From my view, I could see her fabulous hair. Seth Green passed right by me. And guess what? I'm taller than Seth Green. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh shit. Who else did I see that I thought was something noteworthy to mention? Okay, I think that's all I've got right now. But there was a bunch of other celebrities there, but those were the ones I had some actual comments to make about. So let's go ahead and keep it going. We saw John Cena, of course. He came out and he basically had this pretty lengthy promo here, but the big gist of it all is, he's talking about what the people are saying about him, right? He's talking about like they're saying that I'm gonna be at the Royal Rumble. They're saying that I'm gonna face this person or that person at WrestleMania. They're saying that I'm going to be the 17-time world champion. And those things are being said. And then he's like, all right, well, I'm going to be in the Royal Rumble and I might win the Royal Rumble. So John Cena is officially in the Royal Rumble. He said it himself. He's gonna win it. And now I'm wondering, like, shit, after all of that, is John Cena really winning the Royal Rumble? I feel like before I wasn't so convinced. I know a lot of people had been saying that John Cena was going to win the Rumble, but for whatever reason, I just wasn't fully convinced, right? And after seeing him cut this promo and so passionately saying that he was going to win the Rumble, I'm like, dude, now you gotta win the Rumble, right? You can't have John Cena John Cena, everyone. John Cena. You can't have him go out there and be like, I'm going to win the Rumble on his farewell tour and then lose the Rumble, right? Like, it's just weird. You can't have John Cena do that, especially right now that he's on his farewell tour. Give the guy the Royal Rumble win. So I feel like at this point now I got to go with John Cena winning this Royal Rumble, guys. And, I think we're pretty much expecting that. We're pretty much expecting that John Cena Cody Rhodes match at some point, but that is what we essentially got there. Great moments, great stuff with all of that, and oh man, let's see, where else do we got to go from here? Sorry, guys, there's so much that happened. I'm like trying to remember everything. And then of course Logan Paul was expecting that as well. So that was pretty much what I anticipated for that. All right, let's go ahead and get into the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley match. So this one was pretty straightforward, guys. We were waiting to see Rhea Ripley get her win. She got her win. A nice little match that they had here. It was very simple. They kind of just, they did the rounds, of what they did. I feel like an abbreviated version of some of the matches that they've done in the past. They've worked together before, so this was basically just a culmination of that. And Rhea Ripley, for the win, she hits a couple of riptides and she gets the win, right? But the funny part was, so she wins her title. Great. She's now a two-time women's world champion. So excited for her. But the funny part about all of this, though, was that afterwards, Dominic Mysterio, he tried to like come in there and like be like, oh, Rhea. And he's like trying to be with her once again, right? And everybody knows, like, okay, that's not gonna happen, right? Like, she is not going to freaking go back to Dominic Mysterio. This is a moment for Rhea to get her revenge on Dominic, and she does. Rhea does get her revenge on Dominic, takes his ass out. And so that was kind of fun to see. It still doesn't top the moment where Rhea was beating Dominic like a human pinata. It still doesn't top that moment, but it was still very, very cool and very up there. Now, I almost forgot to mention a big unexpected part is that after Rhea is like walking out of her, after her win, she's walking towards the back, and all of a sudden we hear the dong, and it's the Undertaker, but he comes out as the American badass, right? And this makes sense, guys. I mean, you all saw the Undertaker GIF from last year's WrestleMania where he was doing the little run. Hey, he can't do that right now. So he's got to come out in the motorcycle. So the Undertaker comes out in his motorcycle and he does a loop, right? Just around the perimeter of the ring. And then he goes back and then he has this moment. It's this really cool shot of the Undertaker and Rhea Ripley. And it was just kind of cool, right? Because they're both, in black and in leather, and they kind of have that edgy, similar style. So it was kind of cool to see the Undertaker, like, give the rub to Rhea Ripley. Or hell, Rhea Ripley's so freaking popular. Maybe she was giving the rub to him. Either way, you know what I'm saying. It was so freaking fun to see that little moment between Rhea and Undertaker. I wanted to see that because I feel like we've had a lot of these cool moments where like the legends that are guys will like put over some of the other guys, but no, this time we had him put over one of the women, and one of those women was Rhea Ripley. So I loved that, particularly for that, the fact that Rhea Ripley was like getting acknowledged by one of the biggest legends in the industry. So shout out to Rhea Ripley. And we also had, so I should mention, by the way, Rhea Ripley's so lovely. I did ask her the first question on the presser, and afterwards, like, I thanked her, and she gave me like the nicest smile. Go back and watch it, and I was like, we had eye contact. It was like eye contact, but then she gave me that smile, and I was like, it was like little hearts coming out. That was literally my reaction. I was like, oh my god, this is too much. I can't handle it. Anyway, so moving on from this, we had Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre, a decent match, but the big thing that really everyone's talking about here is that Travis Scott came out, and I couldn't see what was happening, but I did see that what do you call it, that I think he was like smoking, Travis Scott. I could kind of see, sorry guys, he was on the opposite side of the ring, so I really couldn't like see the fine detail, but I was like, everybody was laughing about it afterwards, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that because it was so far and I couldn't see. I didn't have my glasses. I didn't have my glasses, so I couldn't see the exquisite little details, but the entrance was very fun. It was very, very long entrance, felt like a little concert because you see Pat McAfee, Michael Cole, Cole. They're up on the commentary table. It was so funny because I was watching Michael Cole climb up the commentary table, and he's like kind of struggling, but he finally gets up there and he's so excited to do the yeet thing. And yeah, everybody was like living for that. And Pat McAfee was living for that. Jey Uso, all of them, Travis Scott. I'm not a Travis Scott fan. But I know a lot of people are. So I recognize the popularity and I recognize that, that could get some eyeballs, right? But again, I don't want to go there. Anyways, moving on from here, let me see. What else did we get? There was just so much that happened on the show. Hulk Hogan. All right, that's next. So, guys, Los Angeles is a very democratic state, but also Hulk Hogan, and I'm not just speaking for California, but Hulk Hogan gets he was he said some terrible things in the past, and then he has made some decisions in recent times, and to each their own, of course, right? But it just isn't pleasing. Anyways, Hulk Hogan comes out, and dude, I don't even know what he said. Don't even ask me what Hulk Hogan said. I heard brother. I heard something about his career. I heard that was it. That was all I heard because everybody was booing Hulk Hogan. Everybody in that building. I was hearing the boos. It's so funny because when you first hear a song, you like have the instinct of being like, yeah, this person's coming out, right? And so I saw when the dun, 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 hit, there was like the front of the crowd had a moment of like, yeah, Hulk Hogan. But at the same time, the people in the back area I felt were like, boo, Hulk Hogan. And in that moment, that like cheer, that one cheer lasted like a split second because the second people like realized it, because they had the initial like, oh yeah, we're celebrating because the wrestler's coming out. And then once people like realized it, they were like, oh yeah, I can't cheer for Hulk Hogan. And so all of a sudden it went from like a couple of cheers and a couple of boos to a shit ton of boos. Like people were booing, and if people didn't want to boo, they just weren't reacting. Like they weren't even defending it. Like, sometimes when people are getting booed and you're like, nah, fuck you, I like this person. And people are like, yeah, and you get a little bit of both. Nah, you did not get that here. It was like all consumed booze for Hulk Hogan. And I can tell, like, just based off of the fact that, like, you couldn't understand the promo because he was all choppy. And I don't think he was like, I mean, I'm sure he had to have expected this. I feel like he had to have expected this reaction. Um, I feel like it. Like, wouldn't you think that the people would react like that to him? Or maybe he would think that. I don't know, but putting him out there like that, yeah, definitely it didn't go so well. It did not go very well for Hulk Hogan at all. And yeah, he got booed the hell out of there. And I can't tell you anything the man said because I couldn't hear any of it. And then I could tell that he was kind of like nervous about what he was talking about because you can just tell he didn't have that confidence when he was cutting his promo. And Lord knows what he says. No idea what he said. He was being booed. That's all I know. That's all I know. All right. And we got to go into the Seth Rollins CM Punk match. So I missed the first few minutes of this match because got an email from WWE PR, and basically they give you instructions for the press conference that goes on afterwards. And the rules were like, oh, you have to go like right as soon as the final match begins, as soon as Seth and Punk begins, you guys got to leave and meet us at this restaurant. And from the restaurant, we're going to walk you to the press conference. So I had to leave right at the entrance. And then I was waiting at the restaurant for PR, and then PR took us down this like maze that ended up with us on the floor. So I was able to catch the ending of this match, but I didn't get to watch the beginning of this match. However, from the ending and what I saw, I was like, oh, dude, you can tell you missed a pretty damn good match because of the way the crowd was like, this is awesome. And the way that Punk and Seth were going at it towards the end, I was like, yeah, I kind of missed a pretty good beginning here from the looks of it. But by the time I got back into this match and I'm watching, people are losing their shit, I kind of had a really cool view because I was underneath, I was on the floor at that point, and so I was able to see like the view. I was watching the match from like the ring a little bit, but mostly from the screens up at the top because that was just a better view. And dude, like I could tell that they were freaking going at it, man. I love when seeing CM Punk and Seth Rollins like exchange stripes, and like Seth Rollins landing this buckle bomb and then another stomp, and then he goes for the cover. CM Punk gets his leg up on the rope, and everybody was like, yes. But Rollins rolling with the homies. Uh, Rollins hits a superplex, and then afterwards he like then goes for a Falcon Arrow, but CM Punk counters that and hits a pair of GTS for the win. And so that is how CM Punk got the win. But honestly, I went into this thinking that Seth Rollins was going to win. You guys know this. You saw my predictions. I was like, oh shit, CM Punk defeated Seth Rollins already? Damn. I wasn't expecting that either. But here's the thing, like I thought like, oh, maybe Seth and CM Punk, like that's it. It's over. We're not going to see this match anymore. But then CM Punk in the press conference, he was like, yeah, we're probably going to wrestle Seth Rollins again. I'm paraphrasing. I forgot exactly how he said it, but the way he spoke about Seth Rollins, it made me think that it's not over yet. So even though CM Punk defeated him, based off what Punk said on the presser, it made me think that it may not be over just yet. But I guess we'll see. All right, other things that we need to mention here from the show. Oh yes, 2K25 guys. That is incoming. They teased that on the show, as well as yeah, so they teased that on the show. And I kind of already knew about this, about the 2K25 thing. I kind of already knew about it, so I wasn't like too surprised. And you'll probably find out why in a bit. As to why I knew about it, you'll probably find out in a couple of weeks as to why I knew about it. But yeah, so that was that. Let me see what else we got. Oh yeah, The Rock says he's going to be at NXT New Year's Evil. I was not expecting The Rock to be at NXT New Year's Evil, so that's going to be interesting. I wonder what he's going to specifically do on the show, like what is going to happen. CM Punk did declare for the Royal Rumble. That's another thing to mention. So of course we're going to see CM Punk in the Royal Rumble. I mentioned earlier John Cena declared for the Royal Rumble, and then I'm trying to see if there's any other big news bit that I forgot to mention. I hope I didn't, guys. It's literally almost 2 a.m. right now. So I hope I didn't miss anything. But there you guys go. This was a very fun show. I thought WWE knocked it out of the park in terms of really making it feel like a big, giant spectacle. Like this was a can't miss show. I feel like anybody who is a WWE fan definitely tuned in for this show, especially just wanting to see what it was going to be like. All of that. Triple H said in the press conference that so far what he's heard is that Netflix is very happy with the back end numbers and stuff that we don't know about yet. I'm expecting for them to release a press release at some point, probably tomorrow. They usually do that stuff the following day, so I am expecting that. And that's, I think, it. Check out the press conference videos that I posted. They're up. And then also check out some of the interviews that I got. Wasn't able to get too many, but I did get 6. So please check those out. Give those some love. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. Let me know what your guys' favorite moment from the WWE Raw Netflix show was and how you felt about it. So I look forward to hearing from you guys. And thank you so much for watching this video, even though it came out late. But thank you so much. And subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.